Peter Rutherford, welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you for having me.
You're the musical director for the upcoming production of Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I am indeed.
Before we talk about that, when did you first start working in music theatre?
Oh, funnily enough, well, it would be a lie to say that Joseph was my first show, but I think I ended up starting in musicals when I was about 14. There was like a musical adaptation of, the book Anne of Green Gables.
Okay.
And I did that with my local community music theatre society in Gosford, on the central coast of New South Wales. A few years back now, and I started off on stage, and I ended up playing the narrator in Joseph in my local, community theatre thing, and I was hooked. I did as many as I possibly could ever since, doing anything from spotlighting to trying my hand at French horn or keyboard or conducting or being on stage, anything I could get my hands on. I just loved it.
So what's the starting point for your job once you've been assigned to a show like this?
Well, I think there is the musical director job has a managerial position in that you've got to assemble a team of musicians. And so I think you often try to work with people that capture the spirit of the show and the style of the show. And getting the team right's, almost essential, because you have to spend a lot of time playing the same material with each other. So you want to make sure that the gel between you is excellent, that you like playing together, and that you agree upon musical style, about how you relate to tempo, how you relate to style, how you follow singers, all of that stuff. And I guess the theatre community that we've got of musicians in Australia, a lot of the people have been gigging together, freelancing together for so many years. So there's a really lovely community out there and a really good rapport between musicians. So I just assemble the people who I just want to work with, which is a lot of fun. That's where we begin.
Tell me about the band that you put together for this show. How many people are involved?
We've got 10 players. This is I think Joseph last played Australia nearly 30 years ago. It was quite a long time since it's been here professionally. And so since then, it's had an update of orchestrations. So for those who've heard and are familiar with the show, they'll hear some new fun dance arrangements, some updates. So we've got a 10-piece band that sounds super epic, to be honest, because I guess you get in these big shows now, they've got such wonderful sound design and technical design. So you get to hear everything in detail in a way. So I get to play with a little bit of technology, but it's generally like the old school greats. I get to be on a stick, a baton conduct, which is a little rarer for musical directors these days. Often we're playing keys as well, because they're trying to minimize I guess I should say economize what people do. But this is a traditional old school conduct, so it's like a big orchestral sounding show with a good rock band solid foundation like you expect in these great Andrew Lloyd Webber shows.
So what keyboards are you using to replicate the orchestrations?
We've got some Kurzweils. Our keyboard programmer, Stuart Andrews, has done a lot of Andrew Lloyd Webber shows. And I think because of the era in which it was written, there was so much innovation for keyboards during the time that he was writing shows. So each time there was a new score coming out, he would try to update the latest samples and try to use them and incorporate them and mix them with orchestral instruments, mix them with rock bands, and just see what experimental fusion could be made out of those things. So the Kurzweils have got a good capacity to take some of those old samples as well as incorporate some new updates.
Yeah, I've heard the 91 London cast recording of the show. There are some retro keyboard sounds in there. Will you stay true to that, or will you bring your own musical personality to the show?
A bit of both. You will hear some retro. It's Joseph is unashamedly fun and kind of, I guess, has an element of nostalgia, because it's multi-generational now. Even for me coming back to it, having done it as a teenager, it captures a lot of memories. And I think songs like Any Dream Will Do, or those, which I know it's just easy earworms. They just get in your head, but they seem to bring back memories and that sing-along joy feel. I think sometimes you've got to go to the era and the sound of the era to capture that memory. So yeah, we certainly go there in the keyboards.
Yeah, it was first performed, I believe, in 1968 Do you think it's important for shows like this to develop and grow with each new production?
Absolutely. I think it's nice to, like, nostalgia certainly has a place, but I guess we can never really truly go back and recreate what it once was. It's always made for the audiences of 2022. So this production first aired in the London Palladium in 2019. They did a revamp for that. Never thought it was going to be like a summer production. They didn't really have the grand hopes of like multiple productions in the world, like global renewal. But it just was met with such wild enthusiasm, both critically and from the audience. It was, I think it surprised everyone who made it, just the appetite for the show, because it's, I guess what I think we don't always track with some shows that are often done solely professionally is that there's a whole other world of people doing shows anywhere, like small, large scale productions, community productions, school productions, and they have this emotional kind of, I guess they're evolving emotionally in the lives of everyone over this time. So when you come and bring it back, we're trying to update for the culture of today, but also bring in that element of nostalgia. So I think the fusion really works.
Yeah. What is it about Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals that makes them so popular? What's the secret
I don't
ingredient?
know. Because this is my fifth Andrew Lloyd Webber show that I've done, so I've thought about it a fair bit. But I think one of the things that we really like is that there is there is heart in every little bit of storytelling. They're very keen on making sure that you feel something. It's not always, I guess, the aim of it is not to create the most complicated, sophisticated way of saying one thing, or to make a artistic, maybe avant-garde perspective, or at least I say this is a personal thing, because at my university education there was a large philosophical penchant for trying to do something differently, to innovate, to always kind of push the envelope. And I think with them what they do is look at how people receive storytelling and just go for the easiest path to get right in there. And I think that's why it has such broad appeal. It just gets straight to the heart of something simply, and then sometimes out of that comes really, really interesting innovation as a byproduct as well. That's what I love about them, is that I think that their goalposts were different to a whole lot of people, and that's why they're so damn successful.
Uh, what is it about Paulini and Euan, the main characters, or the actors playing the characters, that makes them right for this musical?
Oh yeah, they're so infinitely charming and watchable. Like, I think Paulini, obviously people have known Paulini as a figure, as a singer for a long time, and as somewhat a personality, and she's been on stage before in some roles, but I don't think anyone has ever seen her like this. This is someone who is, I don't know, she's stripping everything back and just being herself at some moments, and like she's so encouraged to play and be a storyteller. And I think we sometimes call the narrator that Paulini's playing in Joseph, we call her like your favorite aunt. And it's like that side of Paulini that I think people have never really seen, her clown, her comedy, and also all of like the different portrayals of many characters. She plays so many characters in the show. Like, I think no one's ever seen it from her. And she's just glorious. She's the most wonderful singer. She's got great style, and she's just so damn likable. So I think people have not seen Paulini like this. And Euan's a consummate professional. People have, if you've seen a lot of the major shows recently, like Cruel Intentions or Les Mis, or a whole bunch of the productions, Euan's been one of the leading players in there. He's a fine, fine singer. And there's a little bit of a pop riff off at the end of Act One between the two of them, and ooh, it's pretty hot. So I hope people who like a bit of fine singing get involved with that.
Yeah. Former footballer Shane Crawford plays the Pharaoh.
He does.
What kind of vocal advice have you offered Shane in regard to his performance?
Well, I think my encouragement is Shane is so entertaining as a human. I think obviously he's like been a professional athlete before, which comes with its own rigor of incredible hard work and training and kinesthetic awareness of body and a whole bunch of things that we like think there's a lot of overlap between doing theatre and sport. It's just perhaps we don't always make the links. And I think Shane's also been on television as an entertainer for like 15 years now. So he's a personality, and he's funny. He's charming, a decent, lovely gentleman. So I think we've just been encouraging him to not think of it as something that's really outside of himself, but to really bring all of the things that he is into the role, and to bring that to stage. So singing is new, that's true for Shane, but I think people might be quite surprised in a good way in what they might hear. He's got some killer notes in there, which I think might surprise a few people.
Even though you've been involved in many productions, what kind of curveballs can a show like this throw up leading up to the opening night?
Well, I think the biggest one at the moment is still that COVID is still with us, and you know, as you know, for these shows, they are massive. They are huge productions. They don't look like it on the stage, but there's like an extra 100 people backstage doing a whole other show of their own with choreography and such. And you have to learn it. You can't just bring someone in and say, do this. Like, you can't get actors to just come in and learn it and sing it and prepare the role. Like, it's prepared over many, 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 many hundreds of hours of work. And so if anyone goes down, it just rocks the boat so much. So you're just really just hoping that we keep our teams together, from musicians to actors to set to staging to costume to wigs to lighting to, the list goes on. And so it's just hoping that we can keep our teams together so that we can put on the best show that we can.
Yeah. For people coming to the show, what do you feel that they are going to get out of the experience?
I think joy. I think that it's one of those shows that you aren't encouraged to just listen to or to be a passive observer of. It really involves you. It's the music. I don't know, for those of the for those people out there who remember what the sound of, like, Joseph's coat was, where they go through all the colors, red, yellow, green, brown, scarlet, black, ochre, peach, all of, it's got like 27 colors. It's like the feeling of joyous children's television. And I think that feeling is infectious to, sing along, clap along, dance along. It's different to some other shows where you might go to see see behind the fourth wall of a sophisticated play, where you end up seeing a drama or a comedy. Joseph really invites us all to participate in this art of just telling a story through the eyes of a lot of children.
Yeah. Well, Peter, it's been great to chat, and we look forward to seeing the production.
Thank you so much for having me, Greg.